Here's how Hugo, who was an average dude, went from 137 kilos to losing 50 kilos and doing a HYROX in his mid-30s. So I want to share one of my favorite transformations to date. It's my boy Hugo. Before he started with me, he was 137 kilos. He was a dad of one, worked full-time at the bank, very sedentary, didn't really do much besides random workouts every now and again. He'd already tried multiple times to try and lose the weight, but every single time he tried, he'd lose a couple kilos, maybe 10 to 15, and then very quickly bounce back. So one of the main things I want to highlight with Hugo is that he is a very social person. He enjoys seeing his friends on the weekend, he enjoys eating out, he enjoys heavy drinking on the weekend from time to time. Being a Korean, he has really good food around him all the time. So that, alongside a sedentary lifestyle, was a recipe for disaster. When it came to his food, he was basically eating out all the time. He was going for whatever was convenient, whatever was prepared at home, whatever his family was making. On the weekends, wherever his boys wanted to go eat and wherever they wanted to go drink, he never really had much control over his food. A lot of soju, a lot of soft drinks, a lot of Korean barbecue. Now with his training, Hugo was no stranger to the gym. He was in and out for years. He goes through phases where he'd go really hard, train 6 days a week, 2 hours a session, and then he'll go through other phases where he doesn't train at all. Now, when he did go to the gym and he tried to be in a routine, he was following what he read online or what his friends told him, which was a very bodybuilding-esque style of program. So body part split, and chest on Mondays, legs on Tuesdays, that sort of style. One of the biggest concerns I had with Hugo was he had this all-in or all-out mentality. If he missed one session, he'd miss the entire week. If he missed one meal, he would go ahead and just eat whatever he wanted. And even worse, when he went out on the weekends, a common tendency that he had was to basically binge and then try to fast the next day to combat that, or over-exercise, try and combat the overeating that he did the night before. A pattern of behavior I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with, which is trying to combat a shitty lifestyle with excessive exercising or excessive dieting. The thing with Hugo is that he was aware that he had a big goal ahead of him. It wasn't just losing 5 or 10 kilos, and so because the goal was so big, it could be pretty daunting. He knew he had to diet for a long time, and so instead of trying to take the patient route, which felt like it was going to take a long time, he would try to do whatever was quickest, whatever was easiest, to try and lose as much weight as humanly possible, as quickly as possible, and that often led to the extreme things that he was doing. After numerous attempts of losing 10 kilos and regaining it, he got disheartened. He started to get discouraged. He started to feel like there might not be a better way to do things other than trying to do all these extreme shit that he was doing. As a result, he started to associate just simply seeing the scale go down with any sort of fat loss success. And so that meant not eating as much anymore. It meant cutting out carbs. It meant doing a fuckload of cardio whenever he felt like it. It meant trying to hit the gym 6-7 days a week, trying to smash his body, only to end up in the same spot every single time, seeing a little bit of results and then falling right back off track. One of the biggest challenges that Hugo faced was his social life. He genuinely enjoyed drinking on the weekend with his friends. He enjoyed eating good food with his family. And so he didn't want to give that up just to lose the 50 kilos, even though he knew he needed to make compromises. And so when he realized he was stuck, he reached out, and this is where we got to work. His nutrition was very straightforward. We started at around a 30% deficit, which was around 2,400 calories to start with. We started him off with a meal plan, giving him some variety so he had a structure to his day, knowing what to eat, how much to eat. And as a result, he was able to lose his first 10 kilos pretty quickly. After the first 10 kilos, I wanted him to start having more flexibility. So I started to teach him how to track his calories, started to teach him how to make his own changes to his plan, bit by bit, week by week, till eventually he was in a routine where he was eating his own food. So with the 2,400 calories, we started Hugo off on a meal plan. Give him some variety, give him an idea of what to eat on a daily basis. And as a result, he was able to lose his first 10 kilos pretty quickly. But I made it very clear, he can't just be on a meal plan for the rest of his life. So we wanted to teach him how to make his own choices over time. So eventually, as he got deeper and deeper into his fat loss, those cravings started to get higher and he wanted more flexibility. We were able to give him that freedom to do so. So we started at 2,400 calories, and then the next drop down after that 10 kilos was going down to 2,000 calories. And that deficit was big enough to help him lose the next 10, 20, 30 kilos pretty easily as well. After the first, I'd say 15 to 20 kilos, he no longer needed a meal plan whatsoever. He was starting to track his own food, make his own meals, and just running it by me to green light it for him. Now, something that we did with Hugo, because he had such a big fat loss goal, I knew it was gonna take a long time. I didn't want him just to be in a calorie deficit for the entire time that he was gonna lose that 50 kilos. And so we made a plan. Every 10 to 15 kilos, we would increase his calories up to maintenance. This was more to give him a psychological break from dieting for so long. Naturally, as you stay longer and longer into a deficit, that diet fatigue tends to accumulate. You starting to steer off track a little bit. Your motivation levels dip because you're eating similar things all the time. And so this was a nice way to spark up that motivation again whenever you start to feel like it was getting a bit daunting or a bit tedious. We also used this diet break or this maintenance period whenever he had a very social life. Like I said, he's a very social person. He had weeks where he had lots of birthdays. He had weeks where he was going away on a trip. And so I wanted to make sure that he wasn't so fixated on dieting during that period. And instead, he learned how to eat at maintenance. And so again, every 10 to 15 kilos would increase it, or whenever we knew he had a very busy period, would increase it to maintenance. Now maintenance for Hugo was around that 3,000 to 3,200 calories. And a lot of those calories were coming from carbohydrates specifically. This plan that we had in place was able to help Hugo lose 800 grams to 1 kilo a week like clockwork, was allowing him to still eat out with his family on the weekend, with his friends on the weekend, was allowing him to eat the foods that he enjoyed. And so now this 50 kilo fat loss goal, which seemed like a big scary monster before, doesn't seem as scary anymore. It was as simple as that, just giving a clear plan so that every single week we had a target to go for, and he was within that range, we were on the right track. So when it came to Hugo's training, it was very straightforward. 3 days a week in the gym, a lot less than what he was doing before. That way it made it a lot more sustainable. He was doing an upper-lower full body split, doing exercises he's already done before. Like I said, he was no stranger to the gym. He just needed more clarity. He wasn't tracking his workouts before, so I made sure that for him to get the best result possible and for him to actually enjoy training, to get motivated by something besides the number on the scale, I wanted him to track his numbers so he got motivated and pumped up by the numbers increasing in the gym as well. We used a lot of machines, eventually moved him towards free weights, and now he's in a good routine where he's training 3 times a week consistently, never concerned about missing a session, always making time for it no matter how busy he is. He saw more progress in the gym in this period that we've been working together than he did in the years that he was trying to work out on his own. One thing I want to highlight, with this 50 kilos that he lost, we did 0 cardio. I didn't make him do any Stairmaster, I didn't make him do any treadmill, I didn't make him go out for runs. Everything that he did because he actually wanted to and because he actually looked forward to doing it. The only form of cardio that I made him do was really just going out for some walks. He started at 10,000 steps, we worked up to 12,500 steps. We haven't needed to really increase it from there. It's been pretty consistent, and that's more because he's just a very active person nowadays, where he enjoys being out in the open, he enjoys doing these fun stuff with his family, with his friends. He's no longer sedentary. And so I don't see this as cardio for his fat loss, I see it as him just living a healthier lifestyle. So Hugo came from being a guy that was 137 kilos, a dad of 1, working full-time, living a sedentary lifestyle, always making excuses as to why he needed to drink on the weekend, making excuses as to why he couldn't follow through with a plan. And then when he did have a plan, he had the all-in or all-out mentality where if it wasn't 100%, it wasn't worth doing whatsoever. Being a guy that was stuck with his fat loss for years, doing the same shit over and over, losing a couple kilos here, a couple kilos there, only to regain it back even quicker. Losing hope that he could transform his body and his life and his mindset to become a person that he's never been before, which is someone that's in shape, disciplined, motivated, and someone that works towards his health and is actually leading by example. To now being in the double digits for the first time in his life in a very, very long time, working towards the goal of seeing his abs, his six-pack for the first time. That was a nice little goal that we started to strive towards after he realized he could lose more than just 10, 15, 20 kilos. To now being a dad of 2, having his kid during the course of this program, but also not making that a reason as to why he couldn't look after himself. He still made sure he made time to go hit the gym, to go out for his walks, to make good choices, showing a big transformation in his lifestyle and his priorities. To now challenging himself in other realms of physical activity besides just simply losing weight. He did a HYROX last month, something that I never even thought he would ever be able to do. Crushed it, finished it, and was super proud of himself to actually be able to follow through with that, because now he has the body that's capable of doing that. And more importantly, my guy looks fresh now. Upgraded his wardrobe, checked out all the shit clothes that he was wearing when he was overweight, and now he's just completely transformed his life and his body. Just imagine it, guys. Coming from 137 kilos, struggling with the same goal for years now, to now 87 kilos. The strongest he's been, the most confident he's been, doing a fucking HYROX, wearing clothes that he never thought he could wear, just challenging himself on a daily basis, and now making fitness and health a priority in his life, no matter how busy he gets. I can now confidently say my guy Hugo is never going back to where he once was. He changed his life in the span of 15 months from a very clear, simple plan and just making sure you had the right people in his corner. So this is for those of you out there who are stuck with your fitness. Your dream life, your dream body, this big goal that you think is so far away from you is not as far away as you think it is. You don't have to have a big goal like Hugo's of losing 50 kilos. Maybe your goal is just wanting to be more confident. Finally have a body that you're proud of. Being able to wear the clothes you want to wear. Look good topless. Or just being a more disciplined person and making health and fitness a priority in your life so you can live a long and healthy life. All you need is to have the right person in your corner, the right support, the right plan, the right system, and really just a willingness to change. And so if you're like Hugo, you're feeling stuck with your fitness and you're tired of just putting in the work, trying whatever you think was working at the time, only to be disappointed or left discouraged, it's time for you to take the same action that Hugo did. Click on the first link in the description where there's a video where I fully explain how we can help you, our system, our process, and that way you can go ahead and schedule your consult and we can get to work.